Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Pinball Arcade. So last time we did Bone Busters, which was very much a Ghostbusters ripoff table, but not one I particularly enjoyed with the game flow. Today we're doing Earthshaker 1989. Earthshaker was designed by Pat Lawlor. This entertaining table features a shaker motor built into the cabinet that physically shakes the table when an earthquake is triggered. Early visions of this table featured a building that sunk down into the table during the earthquake, but was removed for cost reasons. 200 of these special tables were released. A bright, colorful playfield, interesting wheel set, and great music makes Earthshaker a true pinball classic. 5,265 units of this table were produced. Double, uh, over double the number of Bone Busters tables. I feel like I saw a table like this once where the table shook itself. It's kind of insane, an idea, certainly. And I guess the question to ask is, does this version that they gave us, since they're simulating this, is it the version um with the sinking house or not? Where would it have been? See, there would have to be room somewhere. Otherwise, the table would change quite a bit. It's not on the backboard, is it? Boy, is that a weird art style. It feels like a odd comic book or magazine comedy art style. I kind of feel like it would have to be here where California and Nevada, I guess, are separating. And the ball just drains to perhaps separate California and Nevada. Unless this is the house that sinks into the ground, is what they mean. Yeah, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't have given us the special version. That seems kind of crazy. And it would be so easy to give both versions, even. Like, if it literally is just a small change on the table, removing something, I feel like it's gotta be this. This definitely looks like it sinks down. Hmm. And the idea of past releasing a different version of a table seems kind of ridiculous just to save a few bucks. Alright, well, let's look at the table. It looks like we have a 6 times multiplier and then another 6 times multiplier. I don't know how you pull that off. 2 in lanes and 1 out lane with a pretty decent angle on the right. Pretty decent out lane angle on the left and 1 in lane there. Is there a way that the ball would drain out towards that out lane? You hit this one, and if it bounces back, that seems to be about your only real danger. Another left flipper that shoots to a ramp. It goes up here. You'd have to hit that fairly hard. We're going with an art style of a lot of crumbling and cracking foundation. Here you have a California skater with the road cracking behind him. It says HD LL Land. Hollywood Land was what the Hollywood sign originally said, as it was an advertisement for real estate. And then it eventually became a cultural touchstone, and they removed the land part of it, and it just says Hollywood. Here you can see all kinds of buildings shaking apart. Yeah. And then there's a sinker somewhere back behind that. I don't know exactly how you get the ball down that hole. And this clear tube is actually being used like a clear tube. Oh. So there's one ramp that sinks sinks the ball lower. I guess you maybe can also shoot it at a far angle, and that's not just a... No, that is a slingshot. Well, I have no idea. That ball must just drain that way and get shot somewhere else. And then maybe it gets shot. I don't know. And then you have this spinning spot that is a ramp here, which means you have to hit this with kind of incredible amount of force. Otherwise, the ball is just going to drop into those top lanes and hit these really small bumpers. And then you have some drop down targets and a spinner. And that spinner shoots, I think, back this way. Yeah. This is one of the points where art can help you a lot by this being a blue lane and this side being a blue lane. That's slightly helpful. But then it changes to a yellow lane for no reason. It should have been blue further on. So a sinkhole here. I think you hit that and then it pops it back up. And then I am uncertain where it pops the ball and sends the ball at that point. Does it send it over to that lane? I guess maybe. No. Wow, there's so much on top of other things here that it's going to be incredibly difficult to figure out where they even aim. I guess we'll have a lot of lights that'll tell us where to go. You have a captive ball here. Center ramp advances ball value. And then the ball launches up here for this in lane, so that's probably where that goes down. Interesting that they've overlapped 2 lanes. This is also probably the first table we've seen where it has metal guides and plastic guides combined. There's a lot going on this table. What are our standard goals? Score 100k on the on-ramp shot. Collect a matchup reward. That's random. Earn an extra ball. Score a fault trip. Activate the aftershock multiball. Well, let's start playing, I suppose.
Sunny drive time.
Alright, well. First 89 table. This is more around the lines of 70s. 70s music. Of course, that's a problem with like any designer of any game, is that they may put their favorite music in it instead of getting the license to the more modern, more popular songs. Wow, center peg for the win there. This is another table though that the angles of the camera just don't feel right. I would really like to find something that was slightly in the middle. Not 100% sure where I'm supposed to even be aiming. But we locked one ball. And there's jackpots on this table, obviously, because we can see the top board. It's highlighting that. Well, I mean, if you got a good shot like that, you might as well take it. So I guess in a case like this, you just are looking for the blinking lights and trying to see where that goes. I'm not really sure where the blinking locations on that building indicate. Are they supposed to represent places on the table, or are they supposed to represent something else, or a score? Alright, multiball. So let's see if we can keep an eye on the sinking table, sinking building. I'm not seeing a sinking building. Maybe they kept the building and they just removed the sinking part. That might be the case. And see, I got like 4.5 million so far. And this is another table where getting such high a score when you don't even really know what you're doing seems kind of crazy. I don't know if I earned an extra ball there or if there's an actual ball saver on this. In this case. Either I am scoring a decent amount of extra balls, which I am then draining out immediately, or I'm scoring a decent amount of skill shots. The jackpot's up to 2.5 million, which is like the maximum. Player 1, great score, enter your initials. So that like immediately puts you on the scoreboard in your first game. Plus, matchup reward and aftershock multiball. If the jackpot is not scored during multiple lock lights at the shelter for 15, shooting the shelter before the timer expires locks the balls and sends a new ball to the plunger. Once the ball is locked, aftershock multiball is activated. The rules and scoring of this 2-ball multiball are the same as regular multiball. Another feature is they can be activated from quick multiball if the ball is already locked when quick multiball is activated. Alright, so I think we pretty much got that. Doesn't look like there's anything in the instructions. The primary goal of this table is to shoot the earthquake zones that the Earthquake Institute predicts will cause the next earthquake. The predictions are indicated by the earthquake zone lamps on the Earthquake Institute building. So that is the building. There are 9 earthquake zones representing 9 shots on the play field. At the start of a new game, the Earthquake Institute predicts an earthquake for 4 of the zones. The zones that flash in the building are predicted to have an earthquake. The lamps to the corresponding play field shots are also there. Okay. So I get it. then it feels like instead of having a building that sinks at the Earthquake Institute, which is an interesting gimmick, you would have probably just wanted to not have that, particularly if you weren't going to commit to keeping the sinking building gimmick. Did we even look at the flyer? No, I don't think we did. Yeah. It's a moving experience. And certainly you have to remember that this also was a case where the idea of haptic feedback was not in existence really in games. It's not like controllers had vibrators in them and any kind of feedback and nothing else did. So this table is probably a very high predecessor to any other form of haptic feedback. Of course, also a lot of these flyers indicate that a lot of the themes and ideas around this are based on basically advertisers writing puns and trying to advertise things. Let's see, I'm trying to see if the flyer, I can't really read it, would have talked about the Institute sinking. Alright, well, I suppose let's just keep on playing. See, I don't remember if that was the skill shot. I feel like locking the shelter ball in particular is a hassle. Yeah, it really just takes a couple good shots and you can light extra ball incredibly easy on this table. Although still fairly easy to knock things down the drain. I feel like you do kind of have this conceptual problem with a table that shakes, in the idea that it's just inherently never going to feel 100% fair. I feel like particularly kids are going to be upset if the table shakes the ball and causes them to drain. So then that creates this scenario where you have to pretty much only have the table shake when the ball's not on the table, which then becomes a problem because that's boring. Almost let the ball drain out, and then I did let the ball drain out. I might as well, I think, lose at this point because I think I've done all the standard goals. But we'll play just to warm up. More and more, as I'm continuing to play these tables, I am doing so well that I feel like I haven't even really warmed up and I'm already winning to too high of a level. I would want more challenge, and there isn't a great way to add challenge to a pinball table, not that I know of, other than just increasing an arbitrary, unimportant score. It does look like some gate or something changes changes in the back with the Nevada and the California path. The game is screaming jackpot, but I don't know if that means the jackpot's lit or I've earned the jackpot. This table also highlights the secret sexual nature of pinball and the nudging being a thing where you hump the table. So yeah, I just need Aftershock. Oh, matchup reward is not the same as what I thought it was. It wasn't a match at the end of the game. So Aftershock Multiball would have been the thing we need to focus on. So with a lewd eye, let's look here at the art. You have this big stud guy, you have this big breasted bimbo, you have the sound effects going ooh jackpot when the table shakes. The table itself shaking implies that it's shaking the world for a girl / acting as a vibrator. I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least a few instances of girls leaning or sitting on a table like this and deriving pleasure from that. Is there any other art that highlights that? Well, you've got the bikini skater girl, certainly. I won't go as crazy as to say like the V shape and the crack shape here means anything. Let's see, it says Flip Boy, I believe, on the back of that car. And then the sun is just crying. Here you have a guy on the surfboard. Here you have another girl. So it's not going too crazy, but it does seem like it's going a little crazy. There's something about this part here that changes. I think this California part has to move in some way. I think California itself just moves further to the left to show it separating. I don't know if that really does anything. Also, it's behind this part, so you can't even really see it. There you guys getting hit by a splash of a geyser of water. So there's kind of some winks and nods to it. It's not, this isn't in no way the Playboy table or anything like that, though. Alright. So I guess we could listen to the sound effects some more and just see how many sound effects are of the girl. It kind of makes it feel like you're playing as the girl, but I imagine you're supposedly, storyline wise, playing as the guy. Yeah. See, it just moved. I wish there was a way to do table exploration. Yeah. Now, but there isn't. I suppose with a lewd mind you could say that the table has specific spots you're targeting. Alright, so when it's spinning like this, does that mean it is ready for a jackpot? Multiball? Probably. The multiball is a little bit easier, harder than it seems, but obviously not that hard. But because you have to hit something, then you have to lock the ball. But I guess that's pretty in line. Keep getting the ball. Alright, so now I gotta hit the shelter. Ooh, give me shelter. Come on. Ooh, bitching. Yeah, not a word used too often these days. In all fairness, I would say even Pinbot though, and plenty of other tables have had more obviously lewd imagery on them. This is a table that maybe more in the audio has those winks and nods. And certainly that was fairly common for all forms of art of the time, is that there would be adult jokes hidden that one assumes the kids would not figure out. So the split between Nevada and California moves it in a way that you know you go one direction or the other. So it's acting like a gate, which that's an interesting idea. But this table, to get the jackpot up to 2.5 million, too easy. To get a multi-ball, too easy. I can't say I hate the idea of having at least a few tables where you can get really easy multi-balls. If you're, for instance, having a really hard time with some tables and just want some good dumb fun. But I'm not sure I'm at a level where I could just enjoy a super easy table for good dumb fun reasons. This table, to shake like it does, would have had to have had a very strong motor with a lot of weight on it, I assume. I don't know any other way you could do that. I wouldn't be surprised if what they did is they got a good bulk order on paint shakers and installed them into the machines instead of designing their own thing. Might as well continue to play until we drain out one of the balls, because getting an extra ball, well, actually you can't really do anything at this point. So I guess I hadn't gotten the jackpot before. So I got a pretty pathetic matchup on this there. I assume miles are just kind of the equivalent of your bonus score. We didn't lock a aftershock option. Quick multi-ball is now lit. Well, let's see if we can hit that. Extra ball's lit. If I could get into the shelter, I could get extra ball. The left trigger, though, is not really capable. The left flipper is not really the left flipper is not really capable of hitting a couple of areas. Like, it really is just for that one ramp and that one ramp only. And that definitely puts you in a weird position where you're at like 9 million points here. But the one thing I'm trying to pull off is a tight shot hitting the shelter. I suppose it's probably historically important to mention that, yeah, cars, like the pink Cadillac that's being shown as the car here, not particularly well known for having good shock absorbers, so riding on a bumpy road was much more of a earth-shaking experience than you would expect in 2021 as far as cars. Which does imply you could certainly have had this just been a joyride themes table. If anything, there's kind of like two themes on this table combined. I have to assume we don't have the sinking version of the table. Alright, so there's one ball locked. I don't know where 5 is, but apparently I just hit it. For a table that has so much on it, so much going on, it is actually kind of dull. Also, I don't feel like we ever were really able to get the ball to that lower part of that ramp, so I don't know if that's just a unused section or what. The right move to do here would be to lock a ball in the left flipper. Come on, hit the shelter. Lock the ball and then take your shot with the left flipper would be the right move. but I didn't hit it fast enough. I would say this left flipper kind of in the wrong place. I'm hitting the back side of it a lot of times. Whenever I flip up this way. So, just got a replay and an extra ball. Yeah, this is just too easy a table. Just got another extra ball.
Stay locked on with all the hits.
This might be the very first table where I might want to go into operator mode and just make it more difficult. Like, that seems fairly ridiculous that you can pull off so many extra balls, so many multi-balls. Okay. Then you just gotta bounce the ball around a little bit. Bounce the ball to whatever lit area is lit and hit it there. It almost feels like something gives us a lit area. Whether it's a skill shot or just a success. It is nice that you can hit the captive ball on the far left there and not end up out draining to the out lane that much. I say that as I drain to the out lane. And there's a lot of things that are held here that maybe if some of this wasn't held, this would be a little bit more challenging. Yeah. I think it's a case, if you hit the skill shot, it then seems to unlock the ball lock, or light the ball lock. Right, now. There's one drained. There's two drained. Come on. I hit it. I got incredibly lucky there. Incredibly lucky. And then this is the quick 2-ball multi-ball, which immediately drained. I'm fairly disappointed in the fact that this is not the sinking building element, because clearly that would have been more interesting to emulate. It might also be a case, though, that in the real world, it wasn't just a matter of installing that one more piece of equipment. It might have been a matter of maintaining that one piece of equipment, which I could imagine it being somewhat easy to break. Inherently, I think that's the problem with putting a shaking table concept together in the first place, is that everything would shake loose. The bulbs would shake. These aren't LEDs by any mean. They may be kind of high durability halogen bulbs, but they still wouldn't be LEDs. Bonus multiplier 6+, score 2.5 million jackpot, earn a special, score a million shot, score an end of the road bonus. How do you do that? After accumulating a maximum of 99 ramp miles, each center ramp shot scores an end of road bonus. Wow. Well, that seems quite a bit. That ball just launched by itself. I didn't launch that. In this game, this table doesn't have an auto launcher, I don't think. If you hold flipper, you'll get a status report. Earthshaker status report. Oh, so it will give you a status report if you hold the flippers. Basically, I want to play just one more game of this, just to see, one good game of this, just to see if I can pull this off and pull off some of the daily quests. Not daily quest. No, I'm thinking about the card game I play, the Wizard Goals. I may have run out of all my beginner's luck, though. Although, if I am benefiting from beginner's luck, there is certainly something to be said about just the massive amount of beginner's luck I have. Then that in less than 45 minutes I could get all the standard goals and do very well, in my opinion. Although maybe I'm not really doing that well. It is certainly a possibility. I forgot there was drop down targets in the center of that lane. I haven't been doing the center lane shot. It could be that compared to real pinball players who would be playing this game, maybe there are a ton of people that score 10 to 100 to maybe even 1,000 times the high score that the table itself would have. Maybe pinball players nowadays are just incredibly better at playing pinball because they have all that experience and so many different tables they can play. I still wouldn't believe that the top 10 of any leaderboard is legitimately earning the skills that they claim that the leaderboard says, because those numbers are still like hundreds of thousands of times higher than even the top 20 often, or the often it's even the top 100 is just full of cheaters. But if this is a table that has a default top score of 10 million and the average good pinball player score is 100 million on this table, I wouldn't be super shocked by that. Two is ready to lock. I'm not sure no, I definitely don't like the layout of the upper playfield. It is super busy. It's got a ton of stuff, a ton of easy ways to bump into something, or just very hard to get to that upper playfield. Practically impossible to get to the upper playfield, actually. I think we're still trying to load the jackpot. Guess we should try and go for the shelter shot. There's, I don't think, a real reason to. I haven't been really paying attention to see how many miles I've been collecting, but I imagine it hasn't been that high of a number. This is a table that, yeah, I'm seeing myself not wanting to really put it down, so it's not terrible. But there's definitely some design here I think I would have liked to see rethought. Ball locked. Skill shots. I guess the drop down targets that I'm knocking down are what are increasing the jackpot or cycling the jackpot. But to actually get the jackpot, I think you have to be in Multiball. I wonder where the etymology of bitching came from. Like, in 2021, it sounds like it's like a sexist insult, but in the 90s, it was like the equivalent of saying cool. It was better than saying cool. And it was said openly amongst, I imagine, a bunch of California people that spread it through movies and TV around to the rest of the world. It was definitely said out loud openly amongst both genders with no negative connotation at all. Yeah. Well, I guess that is just an example of the English language going in very wild ways, and particularly in the 80s and 90s and even 60s and 70s, every generation seemed to add a lot of new jargon, less than I think happens now. Alright, let's see what we can do as far as options. Okay, let's enter up, down toggles. So now we're going down. We know that there's different modes. Wow, you can change the slingshot strength. Put a custom message. Turn that off. See, what I'm looking for here is the idea. Let's see. Quake Intensity Street, Arcade. Let's see what Street feels like. Building difficulty. Easy, hard. We'll see what that is. What I'd really like to see is if there was a way to toggle the building to sync. This could be a case that this table does have a syncing building elements, but you only see it if you actually manage to. Wow, 9 balls per game. You only maybe manage to accomplish the syncing of the building when you do something really, really great. Which I kind of have a hard time believing that. Because I feel like I have done pretty good. Apparently you could probably raise the miles traveled. Oh, and you do have... Forgot you could do that. See, no, those are just audit things though, so that wouldn't really mean anything. We can see that the audits aren't even right, because there's been plenty of one-player games that have been played. Alright, well, yeah. Nothing here. Unless there was something on the game setup that was different, which we've not been checking the game setup because it hasn't tended to have anything on it. Okay. So with ball control, if you could actually control the ball with ball control, you could try and get the multiplier up. Which just will prove one interesting thing, I think. So that's at 2.5. And yeah, it just goes around. It might light up a bumper when you go around, but that's about it. I can just barely get the ball into the shelter if I can get the angle right. But I'm not going to be able to get up that ramp. I'm not sure how many miles you can really even add. Right. So I'm supposed to go down here. let's see. Yeah, there's no way to get under the area there. I don't get that. I'm gonna have to look at that again. And you're just not gonna have enough power to hit the captive ball. And hitting all of those. I think we'll just have them reset back to 2.5 million. The ball control here is pretty useless. And that just resets something, and I don't think that really lit. See, I don't even know what that's doing. I'm hitting some kind of on-ramp, but I can't go any further. I bet I've never actually pulled that shot off. I bet that's pretty much an impossible shot. Right. Yeah, there's something. Am I supposed to sneak the ball under the flipper? That would be cool, and it would certainly benefit. Nope, the ball just totally glitched. Come on, can I get just enough momentum to reach this area? No. It gave me a replay. Alright, well, let's just play, because there's basically nothing I can do here. There's obviously something. I don't even know if I really want to bother to play. There's obviously something here, but on the table, but it is an angle or a shot that seems pretty impossible to pull off. It seemingly requires hitting the ball so it will loop in a different way. Let's see. And the only thing I can really think of is potentially, like, what is the weakest shot we can hit here? That's pretty much the weakest shot. And I didn't fully get. I guess once you got the multi-ball, you might as well use the shelter if you can. Nah, I can't even hit the shelter consistently, even if I'm cheating. Yeah, I have to really question getting the miles up to 99. Maybe with 9 balls that's a lot easier. Because it does seem like it is a carryover. This game does seem to take its sweet time as far as unlocking, stopping the game and holding the ball so to show you something on the screen. Which, if anything, we start to see that getting pretty bad later on in 90s tables. As much as I love Star Trek The Next Generation, there are definitely half the time when you're not even playing pinball. How can you get such an incredibly high score and have only 20 miles? There's just too much concepts here for this table. The road trip concept on its own could be a game, and the earthquake concept on its own could be a game. Merging two concepts floods the field, as you can see, because the field is really flooded with stuff. And of course I'm cheating right now, so all I'm really doing is seeing how getting the special and other elements would go. I imagine if you were a cheater on pinball and you literally had brought a super strong magnet that you could have gotten in '89, I imagine half of the ramp shots would still be fairly difficult to pull off. So like, that might be why we see an increase in ramps in tables. I doubt it, though. I imagine they are much more interested in simply having a better experience and a more varied experience. There is always this feeling amongst table designers that's so obvious, where they feel like the basics of pinball get boring and there needs to be a new gimmick. There needs to be some new thing bringing in new people to play, and they probably aren't wrong, because that's an arcade in a nutshell, is that you're in a knockdown fight for the attention of very ADHD kids, and there's always going to be a new game, whether it's a cabinet game or a pinball game. There's always going to be something new that will catch people's attention, and so it's just this kind of like nuclear war to throw in new concepts and catch people's attention. See, 9 balls and I've gotten it up to 45 miles. Well, 6 balls so far. You are seemingly getting miles in groups of 4 or 5, though. So it's a little bit easier than it seems, but not by much. The irony here would be I would get 99 miles and then fail to hit the ramp one more time. And there's just a level of ridiculousness when you're playing with 9 balls on just how long a single game would go. To the point, if you were doing bad in the game and you've drained 3 or 4 balls, you then potentially got to drain 6 more balls before you could start a new game over. That got me to like 57. So you have to get really good at hitting that center right loop at some point. And then you probably would want to mostly forget that skill in favor of other angles. And since every table is a little different in its physics, it's not like getting good at hitting one shot on one table directly turns into skill at hitting a different shot on a different table, or the same or a similar angle on a different table. The flippers themselves are not that consistent from table to table. I imagine the flippers themselves wouldn't have been that consistent from pinball machine to pinball machine, even if you were playing the same table. Although you'd be in a rare situation where you would have two of the exact same pinball machine next to each other.
Stay locked on with all the hits.
Not sure what I'm really aiming for at the moment. I'm almost to 99 miles. Not quite though. Actually, I'm a little confused as to how they depict 99 miles. Because it feels like if I get just a couple more miles, I will be fully lit up on the playfield. So, yeah. Well, ready for a jackpot if we can shoot a jackpot. I'm at 97 miles. Seriously, I think I got to 99 miles but didn't manage to hit it. Yep. See, with 9 balls, getting up to 14 million is pretty easy. Alright, so we have one more ball to hit in the right place. I don't see the point of having a yellow bumper and a red bumper, and then instead of just having a bumper bonus in general. There it goes. That was the end of the road bonus. Of 200,000. And that took an incredibly long amount of effort to get that shot up the center right ramp. I kind of don't hate that there is a center left ramp and a center right ramp. But throughout 9 balls, I don't think I got the 2.5 million jackpot. Nor do I even feel like I got a whole bunch of multi-balls for what you would consider would be a lot for 9 balls. None of the other settings I set seem to really have changed too much. I don't even remember what they were. So let's see. Let's do a little table exploration and then call it a day. Man, I've been playing this for a while. So we know it's not sneaking the ball under the side of that flipper. There isn't some kind of secret door behind that. We know it's not hitting the slingshot. There seems to be a ramp. Yeah, this ramp will go around and go back down there. And then behind this is a ramp that's pretty impossible to ever shoot. That would actually, I think, get you up there. I'm not sure you can actually get up there. This whole yellow area here may not be accessible except for in the launch. Guess that's the case. And that hits a jump. And that jump either goes up to that ramp or it comes down this way and then it goes down this way. So you'd almost think that that would be the skill shot. But there's no way to get into this. So are these just lights? I think they are. I think that's what this is that they are lights through the clear field to show that the highway is broken. But why do they jump the highway from being yellow to being a crumbled road? Why not animate all of that or just leave it all yellow? We kind of see that same problem here. We have a yellow road, and then you have here crumbled road. It definitely made me feel like there were shots I was missing, but I don't think there actually are. And clearly this building was supposed to sink, and they removed that part. And this part moves and opens up so it can drain this way versus going here and draining this way. Is there anything else I'm still interested in this table? I don't think so. There's just way too much going on, particularly in this section. I'd say get rid of this area here. Open this area up a lot more so you can get back up to this top shot. Or change this ramp so it gets you back to the top lanes. There's no 1, 2, 3 or ABC score multiplier. I'm not sure how you even increase the bonus multiplier on this table, but I was able to do it multiple times. I think the split going one way or the other is fine, but I think you probably get rid of the sinker shelter part, or you get rid of the ramp part. I personally don't think anybody would be upset if the ramp part went missing, and in favor you widened up this shot a little bit so that you could hit it a little bit more often. It's not particularly an interesting shot though, so maybe what you would want to do is make this shot a little bit easier, make this so it goes just about to this point, move California and Nevada over here instead of being directly behind the building. Maybe you move the building around somewhere also. Yeah. And is there anything else I'm interested in? Early versions of this table featured a building that sunk down into the table during the earthquake, but it was removed for cost reasons. 200 of those special tables were released. I don't know why you wouldn't have put that in the emulation in particular. That seems crazy. So yeah, I could see myself coming back and playing Earthshaker, but I don't find it to be particularly the best table. It's too easy. It's not anywhere as bad as I feel like Bone Busters was, but it's still not in the top 10 list. One thing I wanted to check, didn't really need to load in to see this, is if the high scores, let's just reset a high score here. If the high score here by default is like 26 million, then what is the leaderboard on Pinball Arcade? See, I'm playing this on a Wednesday. Let's pull that up. See how that works overall in this past week. So yeah, if I was to assume that the top 10 are all cheaters, well, it's not really saying much, is it? On a Wednesday, not too many people playing this because in this 1 week, I'm ranked 12, and that's my legitimate 12 million score. Yeah, only 43 people playing this table. So not particularly a super appealing table. Let's see, can we even get a general idea of how many people played this in a month? Because I'm recording this like on the 24th of a month. Yeah, 100 people have over 5 million. Now at this point, you know overall that there are some major cheaters. I seriously doubt anybody actually scored 200 million on this table, because I seriously doubt anybody would actually bother to play the table that long. And that is certainly a limiting factor in playing real world pinball as much as it is emulated pinball, is the fact that you are eventually going to run out of energy standing up at a table and run out of time. So very few people have it within them to do any 12-hour long marathon playing one single game of pinball. But as I'm scrolling down here overall, it's kind of hard to tell where the cheaters stop and the legitimate scores start. I could believe 50 million if I'd be just 5 times higher than what I had. But 100 million is kind of hard to believe. 200 million less believable. Normally when you look at an overall score, you have enough of a gap where you can start to see whether cheaters are cheating the scoreboard, but here this has been very consistent. Let's see what my score is. Like my score is at 6,886. So yeah, it's unbelievable to think that this is a particularly hard table with such high scores like that. Alright, well, next time we'll do Elvira, which should be at least in the licensing and theming an interesting table. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.